Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung, a pro wrestling podcast. I am KG, and joined with me is my co-host, WCW's own Robbie Idol, also author of Looking Up at the Lights. That's right, correct? Yep. Robbie Idol. What's going on, my friend?
Yes, correct. Not much. Just hanging in there.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Guys, real quick, just as a reminder, here soon, you will also be able to find us on ECUSA. You can find that on Roku. Just go to Roku, search the apps like you would do any other app, find it, download it. There's some great stuff on there, including ourselves. We will eventually be on there. They're trying to get us set up to be in the queue on a regular basis. That's going to be happening soon, as well as other podcasts and other wrestling. Joining us late, but nonetheless, he's here. The Grizzled Vet. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man?
Not all right, guys. If you recognize his voice, that's because you can find him on his very own radio wrestling show called Wrestling Memories. Check that out as well. Guys, before we get into it, it was just announced come January, if Smackdown is not fucking long enough, they're adding going back to 3 hours. And let me tell you, that makes me want to smash my face in, because 2 hours is long enough for me. Now it's 3 hours. I don't know. I wrote something about it on social media, and this is just my own personal opinion. I feel like this is more for the executives, more for USA even. An extra hour means more ads. I don't think it's necessarily for creative. I don't know. I think that 2 hours is low enough. 3 hours just seemed like that they were reaching for storylines and stuff like that. We'll start with you, Grizzled Vet. Are you excited about this 3 hour thing?
Absolutely not. 3 hours stretched it too much. Raw at 3 hours, I always thought was stretched out too much. I think they got the perfect thing on Netflix right now. They come in about 2.5 hours, 4 or 5 matches, you're good to go.
Right.
I like SmackDown the way it is now. 3 hours too long, but you can't watch Braun Strowman eat food, every Friday night. So I think it's just they need product to fill that 9 to 10 hour and extend SmackDown by an hour.
Absolutely. Yep. King of the Kings says hi. Thanks for joining us, King. Robbie, what's your thoughts, my man?
Too long. 3 hours is too long. Like you said, you're stretching. You're looking for storylines and stuff, and it's probably 4 ads to get, add a few more bucks or whatever. But 3 hours is too long. Here, my personal opinion, I think if you cut it to an hour and you gave, made it exciting in that hour, you bring a lot of fan base back, maybe, because now you're wanting more and you're getting it cut back in there, but you're giving them more in that hour. It's just 3 hours is just way too long. And sometimes even 2 hours is pushing it.
The thing with 3 hours, though, is I just think they have way too many superstars on there that needs to be featured for there to be only 1 hour. Bob Cook says, but here's the reality. Check if the USA Network's paying you hundreds of millions of dollars a year and they want a 3 hour show, you give them a 3 hour show with a smile on your face. And I mean, you can't argue with that. That's
right. They need product from 9 to 10. WWE, give me another hour. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly what I said. They need the content. There you go.
Right. Now, let me be look, I'm going to be honest, and Grizzled, I know you could disagree with me. I think I've been around Bob Cook a little bit too long, and I'm starting to get fucking grouchy. But I'm going to be honest with you about tonight's show. As I'm watching this show, I was fantasizing about going to Walgreens and going down the aisle and getting the setup for a colonoscopy. And thinking how much better of a time that would be to be flushing out my colon and stuck in the toilet than to watching most of SmackDown tonight. I just got to be honest with you. SmackDown was fucking brutal. Couple of good things, but absolutely brutal. You know what my problem is with SmackDown, and I'll be honest as well with this too. SmackDown reminds me of a 13-year-old me when I first got cable, and my older brother told me about a WWF at the time, and I switched it on. And it was so goddamn cartoony looking. I couldn't, even at 13, I couldn't watch it because I'm going from Mid-South Wrestling, NWA stuff, to this. And it looks like WWE has gone back to the world of comic books or cartoons. And I get it. Some people like it, and God bless you if you do. I'm not talking bad about you. You have that right. I hope you enjoy it. WWE has a place for every, for people. AEW does as well. I'm just not one of those people when it comes to SmackDown. I absolutely prefer Raw. Grizzled Vet, let me have it.
Hey, you are turning into a grumpy old bastard, aren't you? God damn. I wouldn't. SmackDown wasn't the greatest show tonight. I wouldn't say it was the worst. I wouldn't say it was brutal. At my age, I'm supposed to have a colonoscopy by now, and I don't think preparing for that is going to be pleasant. So I would rather watch SmackDown. Thank you very much. But I always look at it this way, though. As a historian, and this is how I want to do it, I give everything a fair shake. I will watch, I watch Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. We have a show here that airs on our local CW. It's called, it's Texas, TSW, Texas Strong Style Wrestling. I watch that. I go into it with an open mind. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I'm going to tell you I don't like it. But overall, I watch it because it has its place in history right now. And I want to make sure that it at least gets its recognition. It gets chronicled. But that's just me. I watch shitty wrestling. I watch great wrestling. There are times where I'll turn on YouTube and watch Chicago Wrestling Club from the 1950s.
That was great wrestling.
It was.
I like those two wrestling.
Pull something out of its butt. It had its moments tonight.
Yeah. Well, and again, I said there's a couple things. And look, I'm not saying that SmackDown should be around. I want all wrestling programs to succeed, regardless if I like it or not. More wrestling means that's better for the fans. It's better for the talent. There's more jobs, for camera people, ring crew. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I want them to succeed. I'm just saying for myself, man, it was brutal tonight. And I agree with Bob. Can you imagine paying the SmackDown prices to get in? And the main event is Cody Rhodes against Bronson Reed. And we will get into that. Robbie, were you jumping up and down and saying, oh my God, this show is just wonderful. This is great.
No, but it like you said, it had its moments. It wasn't bad. I mean, it had some stuff. It wasn't bad though.
Much rather watch this than Dynamite.
No, I see. That's where I disagree with you, man. You know what? I just disagree. I'm sorry. You know what? The talent, they're great and they're entertaining in the ring. But for some reason, especially tonight's show, it was missing something. And there was a moment where I almost turned it off, and we'll get there. But let's get into it. Now, for you fans, please, there may be a couple of things out of order tonight just because I was having issues with watching SmackDown as far as technical problems happening. I was able to get it, though. I'm sure the Grizzled or Robbie Idol will check me if I got something out of place, which is fine. The opening video packs highlights from the current war game storylines and the last time in our tournament. Of course, dedicated to John Cena farewell. Opening segment, women's division promo. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair are in the ring. Flair refuses to team with Ripley due to their past history, setting up tensions for Survivor Series War Games. This was one of the segments, and it started off just from the get-go that I'm like, I don't want to be here. I hated it. I did. Io Sky on the mic. Look, Io Sky is very talented in the ring. On the mic, don't give her the mic, man. Just don't. I just.
Is it because she's Japanese?
No, it's not my wife's Asian, man.
Oh,
you know. No, I get it. No, it's just I don't know. She doesn't come across as being this. I don't know. Just something about her on the mic. Just it. I don't buy what she's trying to sell, if you know what I mean. Robbie, we'll start with you, man. What you think about this segment?
She's not bad on, yeah, some of the Japanese people on the mics are brutal because of their English and stuff. I have seen that she's nervous when she has to talk in English on it. I like her, so I guess I kind of overlook it. Maybe more so than, let's say, like an Asuka, where I think even Asuka's brutal on the mic trying to, but I guess because I like Io, so I guess I overlook it. But yeah, what I think here's what they're doing. I mean, if Charlotte doesn't participate in the War Games, you already hear the boos are coming. They're starting to turn on her now, and it's like, if she wants to be liked by the fans, should have said, hey, we're not going there, because she's got some clout back there. But I mean, unless she's trying to set up for her and Jade, but she doesn't go to War Games, the fans are definitely going to turn on her. And the other thing I can
go ahead.
So the other thing that you wonder that, okay, now are they going to set it up that they'll go back and forth, go back and forth with Rhea, and we go back to a past storyline, and somehow her and Rhea are in the cage and something happens in the cage. You wonder if they're going to go down that storyline.
This is my prediction. To me, it's predictable. They can make it all the way there. They're not going to replace her. They're going to be short-handed. And Kabuki Warriors and Nia Jax and the rest of the girls going to kind of, taking advantage of it, beating them down. And then next thing you know, at the last minute, Charlotte Flair is going to have a change of heart, and she's going to come in and save them all, being the hero. That's my prediction. Grizzled Vet, what are your thoughts, man?
Exactly what you said. I see it the night before, because that's the Smackdown the night before. There's going to be the schmoz. You're going to find out who the fifth person is on, or the fifth woman is on the other team. They're going to have the 5-on-4. There's going to be a fight. The girls are going to get beat down. All of a sudden, Charlotte's going to come running out to make the big save, and you'll find out she's on the team the night before Survivor Series. It's exactly how I see it happening. There will be tension between the two, but I think it's going to be due to the fact that she's still, as she says, friends with Alexa. I think that's going to be what connects her, and she doesn't want to see Alexa get beat up. So, but it's not going to be. They're going to tease it up until it won't be resolved next week. It'll be the night before, day after Thanksgiving. That SmackDown, that'll be the one where they resolve it, and she's on the team.
Yeah. Now, this won't happen. Won't ever happen. But I would love for it to happen. The big surprise for the fifth member from the other side, which makes Charlotte Flair have no choice but to join in, would be Tessa Blanchard. Would that be awesome? It'll never happen, but I'm just saying that'd be fucking awesome. I love Tessa Blanchard.
I'm not a Tessa Blanchard guy. That's another one for me. I'm not a Tessa Blanchard.
She is in the top 3 easily of best women professional wrestlers. She just is. Absolutely. 100%.
What?
She's good. She's one of the tops. I do have to admit that.
3? Absolutely.
Definitely top 5. Definitely top 5.
You might convince me top 10. I don't know, but definitely not top 3.
Top 3.
Okay, well, okay. Before we move on, I want to hear your top 3, Mike.
Oh, put me on the spot. Thanks a lot. Remember this next week when we do our interview. And I said we don't dig for the dirt, but I'm going for it now. I want some scandal. Oh Lord. Rhea, Charlotte, and she's not there right now because she's injured, but I would throw in Liv Morgan.
I don't know that it put Liv in the top 3. I mean, I definitely Charlotte for sure.
Charlotte and Ripley are definitely top 2. That's a good
Charlotte definitely. And if you're taking the top 3 from any organization. And I mean, Tessa definitely, because you have seen her work with men and everything. So you definitely have to put her, in the top 3. So you'd say Charlotte, Tessa. I like Io. I'd put Io up in there.
No,
just because
sorry.
I would put Asuka above Io, but I'm an Asuka guy. I love Asuka. I think Asuka's just amazing. I'm an Asuka.
My top 3: Charlotte number 1, Tessa Blanchard number 2. Now my number 3, I almost want to vomit saying it because I am so not a fan of hers in WWE, but it's not because of her. It's because she's been WWE-nized, as I say it. But Chelsea Green before WWE touched her.
Chelsea's she's okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
she's more than okay, man. I don't know if you ever
nobody
seen
including
her.
Nia Jax in their top 3. That's for damn sure.
I'm not sure if you ever seen Chelsea Green in Lucha Underground, man. But holy shit, shit.
Because I was trying to think in my head, like going through the organizations and stuff like that. So yeah, but I would have Nia
that way. I would have to probably redo it a little bit, but I would have to do some thinking because.
Right.
If the AEW women's roster is so crazy, the TNA women. I mean, TNA for me, they have Masha Slamovich, and I love me some Masha.
Yeah. See, Britt Baker
would one of my favorites too. So.
Britt Baker would be in there for me, but because she's been absent from wrestling so long, I just didn't even. I've removed her now.
She was decent in the ring, but mic skills I was never impressed with. I was never impressed with Britt on the microphone. Her in-ring stuff was good.
Yeah. Yep.
But Nia's not even in the top 10, Mike.
If we're going outside organizations, I'll take Liv out and I'd put Masha in my 3.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Nia Jax is not even in my top 100. I'm just being honest.
Right. Definitely not in the top 10. Not in the top 10.
I have it on me. PWI, they just released the women's top 250. We have that list, Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm were number 1 and number 2. Or excuse me, reverse that. Mercedes was number 1. Toni Storm was number 2.
What?
Yep. I have it. Hold on. We're not going to talk Smackdown for a minute, folks. We're going to talk women's wrestling here. Yeah. Give me just a second. I got it right here. I'm all about digital.
See what I started?
I'm all about digital pro wrestling illustrated. That's my thing.
I'm sorry, KG. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Here we go. Women's,
go ahead.
Women's 250. Here we go. Yeah. Number 1, Mercedes Moné. Number 2, Toni Storm. So we got that. Hold on. Let me get into my issue here. Come on. Internet, folks. Come on. Load up.
What are they basing this on? Look, and I'm going to be honest. Whatever I'm talking about my top, I know that a lot of people will, part of considering them the top is their mic skills and other stuff.
They go by
I am talking strictly
moments in wrestling. So
right, no, I am talking about strictly in-ring skills.
Oh, hold on, let me get to the.
If you use everything though, I can see Toni Storm in there because of her. I can see Toni being up towards the top, but Mercedes, You know, I'll give her the top 10, but I have a hard time seeing her at number 1.
Here's their criteria. I'll give you their criteria: in-ring achievement, influence, technical ability, competition, activity. That's the criteria.
All right. Well, I guess having 20 belts puts you at number 1.
And there you go. Mercedes Moné, number 1. Toni Storm, number 2. Saya Kamatani is number 3. Don't know who that is. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Tiffany Stratton.
Wow.
Number 5 is Stephanie Vicaire. Io Sky, number 6. So there you go. Athena's number 7. I love Athena. She's one of our local girls. She's here from Texas. She trains in Metroplex Wrestling out in Bedford, which is about 20 minutes away from me. So I always have a soft spot for Athena in my heart. Love her. Sari is number 8. Naomi, number 9. Number 10, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, see, and I'm just not a Rhea. I mean,
Wow.
I like Rhea Ripley, but she shouldn't be in my top 10. Terry Zeller says he cannot stand Nia Jax. I'm just not a fan of hers. I don't think she's that great in the ring. You know?
No. I mean, she's got decent mic skills. I'll give her that.
Nia Jax is number 13. She made the top 20.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
That's
Statlander,
shocking.
number 16.
So-
Jordan Grace, 17. Blake Monroe, number 20. I'm just kind of going through. Roxanne Perez, 22. Let's see. We'll skip down a little bit more.
Where's Becky Lynch rated at?
Oh, Lord. Let me find her. Let me see.
250th.
Julia. Saruka. I would need to find the alphabetical listing to go through those. Or also, I'm going to have to go through Riho's number 34. I haven't seen Becky Lynch yet, which scares me because that means she didn't even make like the top 50.
People are tired of her.
Thekla, Amanada, Lola Vice, Persephone is 51, Red Velvet's 52.
Terry Zeller says
Hader,
that
54.
Terry says that she thinks Nia Jax is reckless in the ring. I'm going to disagree about that a little bit. The only person that's gotten hurt was Becky Lynch, really. Who else has been hurt because of Nia Jax?
I know Tiffany got banged up a little bit. There have been a lot that have
Yeah, I was
got
gonna
kind
say
of like
Tiff-
knocked up a little bit. I think Becky's the only one that really ended up like, you know, like I said, with the broken nose.
And I think, well, in Charlotte, when one of her matches with Charlotte, she kind of banged up Charlotte. But
Yeah,
I think Charlotte gave it back to her. So
Tessa Blanchard's 92.
So Charlotte.
I still haven't seen Becky Lynch yet.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is professional wrestling. It's as JR says, it's not ballet. Things happen.
Okay. Back on to SmackDown while I continue to scroll and see if I can find Becky Lynch.
Next, we're going to backstage segment. And again, if this is a little bit hour, I apologize. We can still talk about it. Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes. Heyman goes Kilman, Cody, Cody Rhodes comes in. Kim and Bronson Reed kind of go face to face. There's a lot of blah, blah, blah. It ultimately led to Cody Rhodes wanting to fight Bronson Reed, and then that's how we set up for that title championship. Now, the one of the other key things with this was Paul Heyman went in there talking about War Games, saying that he can, according to the book, anybody that was signed within WWE, any brand that could be on his team. We left it at that. Next, we go to Jey Uso. I think the Jey Uso thing was before the backstage segment, wasn't it, Grizzled Vet?
No, the backstage segment with Heyman was next. Then we went into Jey Uso versus The Miz.
The Miz, okay. Yep. This was the first round match of the Last Time Is Now tournament. It was an okay match. Jey Uso wins via pinfall. The best part of the match for me was when The Miz was mocking John Cena with the "You Can't See Me," then a 5-knuckle shuffle.
I can't find Becky. I give up.
the match, it was what it was, type of a thing. I know what you think about this match, man.
I thought it was going to be Jey Uso all the way there. Miz isn't going to win.
Yeah, it was predictable.
Right.
Miz was a bit more logical because my sense, but sorry.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Oh, that's okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you knew they were going to push Uso, but like Mike started to say, it would have been a surprise had they put the Miz over, and make sense, kind of push him through to kind of make you think, hey, maybe he does have a chance, and maybe he's going to get there. I mean, it would have made more of a better storyline, kind of give him a little bit of a push and to give him a little bit of a run just because of the history with him and Cena.
Yeah, but they wasn't going to do that because Uso was part of the War Games, and there's no way that they were going to have the Miz go over on him because it would have been considered a major upset, which I don't know why, because the Miz actually has a better resume than Uso because the Miz is a 2-time Grand Slam champion. But because the way he's booked, the way people look at him.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Well, the way you could have done that and still made Uso look strong, Miz grabbed Trunks, put his feet on the ropes or something. The ref misses it. Just put you know how to do screw finishes that it's blatant anyways, and the ref somehow misses it. But you could done a screw finish on Uso and pushed Miz a little bit, even though Uso's got the War Games coming up. You could have did a screw finish, and and Uso still looks strong.
Yeah, Grizzle. Do you agree with that? You'd think they could have put Miz over and still had Jay look strong, considering they're pushing him with the War Games?
I think they could have. I think you could have done something, Paul Heyman comes out on stage. You could have had Carmelo Hayes come out for a second just to cause that little distraction, what's going on, and Miz just gets the quick roll up, whatever. And tournament wise, storyline wise, Miz main evented WrestleMania with John Cena. So you logically could have went with Miz and went, okay, he's getting his shot to be Cena's final opponent. The rematch from Mania, something like that,
Yeah. I mean, look, I said this. Robbie and I talked about this last week, and I said that, it would make sense for the Miz to go over because of his history with John Cena. He has deep history with John Cena, actually. It wasn't just WrestleMania. There was, the feud with him and his wife against Cena back when he was with Bella.
We're not going to talk about that.
But nonetheless, he has history with Cena. So, but no one thought for 1 second that this was going to happen with the Miz. Next, and this is where I think it may be out of order, the whole Sami Zayn and team versus Solo Sikoa and the MFTs, that chaos happened.
You are a little out of sync there because I believe Ilya and Axiom were.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where
and if you go backstage, even before that match, you had Johnny Gargano and Ciampa backstage with Elliot, and him telling him he's why he wouldn't fight Ciampa and all that.
Right. Yep. And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because I want to talk about this for a second. And I said this last week. I'm saying it this week. I don't know what's going on in Creative's mind because, Dragunov is supposed to be the baby face. He's supposed to look strong. It's an open challenge. He's for all comers. That's what the open challenge means. But yet they're having him constantly ducking, right? They're constantly having him duck Tampa. Now I get the explanation. Oh, you're supposed to be a warrior, blah, blah, blah. To me, that was a flipping fail. You're making your U.S. champ look weak, and you're making him look like he is scared of Ciampa. That's the way I'm viewing it. Grizzled Vet, I'm sure you may disagree with me. Talk to me.
The only thing I'm going to disagree with you. Shit. It didn't make sense that every time Ciampa would come out, I'm going to challenge, and then it went to somebody else because the idea of an open challenge is whoever accepts the challenge. Ilya's explanation of fighting, men of honor, and this, that, which is why he won't fight Ciampa because Ciampa's a jackass. Okay. And the reason why I can see why is I see the inevitable split between Ciampa and Gargano again. And Ciampa's going to be, and then we're finally going to get that Ilya Ciampa match, but they're not going to give us an open challenge. It's finally going to be Ciampa saying, I want a shot at the belt. And Ilya's like, okay, you're going to get it.
Yep.
And I can see a Ciampa victory if they play it right. I can see Ciampa taking it.
You brought up something that I said, covered in SmackDown last week as well, as I think this is going to lead to Ciampa and Gargano breaking up. Because what did that say tonight about Gargano when Ilya said, I only fight warriors? He literally then, since he fought Gargano last week, he is saying, I view Gargano as a warrior. But it still doesn't do anything for Ilya, in my opinion. I think it's making him look like a coward because he is ducking Ciampa.
Yeah and no. I think, like I said, with the explanation backstage, at least they're giving like a reasoning behind it. So it doesn't look entirely like Ilya's like, no, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. He's explaining, I want prestige. I want this title. I want to fight the Warriors, men of honor, things like that. It sets it up. It doesn't look like he's ducking and playing chicken, but it also doesn't fit with an open challenge because it should be whoever comes out.
Right.
At least there's an explanation, though. So he doesn't completely look like a coward going, I don't want to fight Ciampa.
Right.
There's a reason why he doesn't want to fight Ciampa.
Right.
And eventually Ciampa's going to get his title shot.
Robbie, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it makes him look weak. It's that he gave now that he gave his reasoning. But, it's this pro wrestling. How many of us in how many pro wrestlers have honor? Who are like, we're all warriors because everybody, you're heading to the ring, but you're saying, oh, I only fight guys that are like class guys. Well, how many of those guys are in the wrestling world? You can pick a handful of those guys.
But this is the issue. This is the issue. I guess I'm more of an old school guy than I thought I was. Because here lately, when I'm watching this stuff, my brain's gone back to Georgia Championship Wrestling, to Mid-South, the old stuff, where the baby face, regardless, didn't duck anybody, right? It was the heels that did this. But again, Dragunov, regardless of his excuse, regardless of his reasoning to me, he's ducking this guy. And I don't know. It's something that, at least for myself, I see him as a coward. Yeah, he's coming up with excuses of why he doesn't want to fight him.
But do you think? And here's the problem. Like, they don't come out and say who's part of the creative team, or I haven't heard any of it. So now here's the issue. Here could be part of the issue. Yes, you may have. Let's say Michael Hayes is there. He's still in creative. Now you're taking Joe Blow, who came from Hollywood, and you're taking, so let's say you got 4 people, maybe 2 guys from wrestling, 2 from Hollywood, and the guys from Hollywood are probably trying to cater to everybody, where your 2 guys from the wrestling world are just saying, okay, let's cater to the wrestling fans, like somebody like you saying, hey, they're going to look at this and say, he's ducking him. Is that the guys from Hollywood? Oh, but you got to give, the fans this, or you got to, we got to pull more people in. So you start pulling people that had no background from wrestling if they're in creative, and they don't have an idea what they're doing. So now they're just throwing spitballs and hoping what's going to stick. So now you got, you might have guys kind of going back and forth with each other, them throwing, like a wrench into what should have been done, but now they're trying to bring their ideas in, and they're kind of clashing, So I have a feeling it just part of it, because you wonder sometimes with the guys backstage on the creative what they're doing.
Right. Terry Zell says, and he's WWF wrestler. back in the day. He says, we're all jackasses. Grizzle, do you at least understand where I'm coming from and why I have the opinion and I'm viewing it the way I'm viewing it?
Oh, of course I do. I'm not saying that Ilya isn't ducking him, but at least they came up with some sort of storyline reason for why he's ducking him. It's just not him going, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. He gave a reason. So I'm not saying I don't disagree with you.
Well, and I think
him, but at least
the other part, KG.
Yeah.
The other, even though he gave him a reason, KG, I think you've been hanging out with Bob too long, so that you're kind of getting to be a grumpy guy like Bob.
Pretty soon we're all going to have our red lights in the background. And
yeah, I'm getting to that age. During that segment, that's when he says, "I'm wrestling Axiom," which leads to the match. Dragunov puts up the United States Championship up against Axiom. Now look. Dragunov, regardless if I like the storyline or not, there's no denying that this kid is just magnificent. I mean, in my opinion, I respect the hell out of him. I've watched his workouts that's been filmed. And like I told Robbie, like I told Robbie last week, look, I used to be a guy that was in excellent shape. I was jacked myself. And there was not a time in my life, even in my 20s, that I could have done that type of a workout. I mean, this kid is just jaw-dropping, the shape that he's in and how hard he works. Then there's Axiom. I like the guy. I think they're both talented. There was no way this could not be anything but a good match. So it was. It was a good match. Robbie, your thoughts on the match?
I thought it was a great match. I mean, the stuff they did was, really cool. Like towards the end, the ending of it where he did that flip off the top rope into that move and stuff that, they're both talented kids, and right. Even Axiom's partner, he's pretty talented too. So you knew it was going to be a good match, and it turned out, and it was what it was. It was a good match. I mean, right. If you granted say Cody wasn't there, that could have been your main event and would have been a really good, would have been a good main event.
I wish that would have been the main event, to be honest with you. Grizzled Vet, your thoughts on this match, man?
It was a decent match. My son was excited. He loves Axiom. He watched the show with me. So, but it was a good match. They had like he said, the top rope off into the DDT where, he got almost a close 3 count. You were like, whoa, but, obviously. Right. So, Ilya gave him some, got a close cowl. Ilya comes out on top, and I love the H-bomb. I think that's like one of the just greatest finishers because that's literally just plant him into the mat and call it good.
Let me stop you right there. I'm glad you said that because you know how bright some of these basement dwellers that call themselves wrestling fans are out there on social media, right? And I've seen quite a few of these dumb
basement dwelling Cheeto eaters. All right.
I've seen a couple of these dipshits say that's a terrible finish. Like that would hurt anyone in real life. Let me tell you something. Lay your ass on the ground and let Idol, even the Grizzled Vet, run and drop that body weight full on your face and tell me your ass is going to get up. You're not getting up. That is a great finisher. I agree with you.
Go back to the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah, remember Tito Santana? What was one of his finishers? A flying forearm. Yeah. Basically kind of the same thing, except for Ilya, they're already on the mat. Right. A forearm. I mean, if Tito did it back and nobody questioned it. But then again, we didn't have the internet, whatever it can be like, they get behind their keyboards and flap their gums. You didn't have that shit. Right. No, it's a great finisher, though. Ilya Dragunov is a very kind of old school style wrestler, it mixes in, more new stuff, but has that old school style to him. And that finisher, you could have seen somebody doing that finisher back in the territory days. You're basically just running at him and planting him in the mat with a forearm.
Right.
I could literally see it back in territory days. Now, Bob's not here to argue with me about it. He might disagree with me, but
even in a real fight, you get some asshole down on the ground and you're able to come down with all of your weight with your forearm, you're going to hurt them. Ida, what are your thoughts on that finisher and all of these Cheeto eating
basement dwelling
microwave, basement dwellers who only comes up to go get their mommy some milk in her minivan.
I like the finish, because it does look brutal. I mean, so I like it. I like how he sets it up with that torpedo like headbutt stuff. I mean, it's a good finish. Everybody, it's everybody Monday quarterback or whatever. Oh, I would have ran this play, I would have ran that play. Everybody's there till you get there. And once you're in the ring, it's a whole different ball game,
Right.
It is funny to see like how some of these people, and you look at some of the people that they're not even athletic and making comments like that. So they've never played sports in their life or anything, have no background to, that they didn't play a sport, or if they did play, it was very briefly and they were the last kid picked.
Right. Right. I mean, look, Robbie, in a way, we're all Monday night quarterbacks because we're sharing our opinions. But the difference is this. The difference is this. You, myself, nor the Grizzled Vet will we say shit like, oh, well, so-and-so is a terrible worker in the ring. They just absolutely suck. Their finisher is like, no. We say we don't like may not like creative aspect of the storylines, or I may not be invested in that person for whatever reason, but I will never take away the talent that they do, nor will I say that they suck, because God knows that if I got into the ring, I couldn't sell one ticket to have anyone come watch me, right? To wrestle. So I'm not going to go there. The problem is all these basement dwellers, that's how they handle it. And it drives me nuts. Right. And I have a hard time not getting into it with them. It drives me bonkers.
Right. And I mean, and that's it. And like they can say, well, who is he? I was there. I mean, I've done my share of whatever. I've had people, oh, you lost, you suck, you did this. Well, you get there, you had to have some kind of talent to get there. Right. And like you said, you put it perfect. It might not be invested in that person for whatever reason. There's just, people I don't like, and they just don't do it for me, whatever. And it's not that they don't have talent, because obviously they have to have talent because they got there. I mean, there's just certain people like, okay, nothing like against Uso. I'm not a Uso, not a Uso guy. They're good. They're obviously really good. They were in WrestleManias and stuff like that. So they have talent for whatever reason. I'm just not a fan of them. I couldn't tell you what the reason is. Just, but if we'll go real quick on something, and sorry to kind of digress here a little bit. We talked about it, I guess, Monday night or Tuesday night from Raw, the nepotism thing, and the person that made a comment about Roman Reigns and stuff. Look at how many people he vaulted further in their career. The Usos and Sami Zayn, because they were all like mid-card guys, and now they're getting big pushes. And for the most part, a lot of people weren't invested in any three of them. So
yeah, that's true. Before we get to the next segment, I got to say something I am not invested in is Robbie Idol's internet, man. Your service is always nervous. You're killing me with that, brother.
Go ahead. We having issues. I mean, I'm looking, I'm going, I'm not going offline yet. I'm like, is it doing good tonight?
It's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So next, I guess, is the Sami Zayn and the whole Solo Sikoa, the MFTs. And guys, this is what I'm talking about when I say these guys are incredibly talented, especially the Motor City Machine Guns. I love them in TNA. For some reason, I just cannot get into any of these guys, even the Motor City Machine Guns. Great talent. Just something is missing for myself with getting involved in this particular storyline. Grizzled Vet, start with you. What did you think about this chaos?
Well, one, like I said, it was an automatic setup. I knew there was going to be a Survivor Series match.
Right.
You just mentioned Roman Reigns and how he built up people. He built up the Usos, Sammy, some of that. Look what Roman Reigns did for Solo. He built Solo's talented, obviously, member of the family and all that, but he got with Roman. Roman pushed him up. And I think what Solo does on the mic is great. On the microphone, Solo is, you believe his shit. I'm not a fan of the face paint. I know it's Tama Tonga and Tongaloa's thing from New Japan, but I'm not a fan of the face paint. They just looks weird. Look like a bunch of panda bears. As far as the segment goes, I'm glad we're getting a traditional Survivor Series match at least. It's not on Survivor Series, obviously, but like we said about Blood and Guts, are you going to want to have a women's War Games match and then a men's War Games match and then have a multi-man Survivor Series match in between the two of those? Because that's just going to be a lot of everything. So putting it on SmackDown the night before, I'm fine with that. Put something else in the middle of the two matches to kind of cleanse our palate a little bit. Like I said last night about, Blood and Guts and the Falls Count Anywhere match. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I'm predicting it's going to be a Solo and the MFT victory. I think it's going to be Shinsuke, one of the Motor City Machine Guns. It's going to go down to it. They'll go out first. It'll be Sammy against 3 or 4 of them, and it's going to be the odds of the numbers, and he's not going to be able to overcome it. The feud's not over yet, though. After that, he's got to have Solo one-on-one.
Yeah,
I love what they're doing with Solo. I like the MFTs. If they didn't have the freaking face paint, I do wish they could do a little bit more with the big boy though, Tala Tonga, because he's got the size, but he's the most generic giant I've ever seen. There's no personality behind this boy.
Well, and you know what? This sounds so stupid. Of all things, I'm a nitpick at, but I'm going to. His finisher is so predictable, and I said this last week too. Why does all big guys have to have the choke slam for their fucking finisher?
Choke slam or a power bomb?
Right? I'm like, come on. He's
back
talented.
In the days of Sid, man. That the big boys back in the 80s. That was the thing. That was Sid's finisher.
Know the difference though? Sid Vicious, when he did it, it looked vicious. It did. He looked like he was killing
but
you.
He kind of set the tone for the big man doing a power bomb as a finisher.
Yeah, I just don't.
And
I
Diesel,
just don't like it.
and whoever.
Right.
And when you go choke slam, Taker, Kane.
Right.
The precedent's been set. So
right.
I guess Tala Tonga just needs some personality and maybe a better name, because I hate Tala Tonga, because it's a play on the fact that he's the tallest guy in the room.
Right.
Yeah,
I said that. I said that last week too. I'm like, really?
Everybody says that. Wow. It's obvious.
Creative is really earning their damn dollars at WWE.
He's pretty damn tall, and he's the Tala Tonga. Yeah, hey, that's a good name. Yeah.
Robbie Idol.
That's Michael Hayes back there. He's gonna be.
Robbie Idol. Man, did this just give you goosebumps?
No. Yeah, it was. You kind of knew where they were going with it. One of the predictable things. You knew somebody was coming to save Sammy. The paint, I gotta agree with you. It's like when you said they look like panda bears. I mean, if you're gonna paint your face, at least come up with a new design, because that design looks horrible. If you want to paint your face,
they look comical.
Yes, yeah. At least do it a certain. I don't mind the face paint. We've all seen some real cool designs out of everybody that painted their faces and stuff. Just like you said, it does kind of look comical. I wasn't excited about
Robbie,
it. But
you know what it reminds me of? I'll be honest with you when I see it. My mind goes back to, oh wait, look, these are freaking roadie Kiss fans,
right? Well, they would have been better off having the Kiss design on their face. It would have looked better than that, though. Right. That's basically like panda bears or mimes. It's just not a cool design. I'm sorry,
Right. Next we go backstage. I think again I was having problems with Sami Zayn. He delivered a message directed to Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. shocker. We know that this was coming up. We don't even bother to talk about this unless you guys want to. The next match is a match that at the time I thought is a match I didn't want to see it, but there was another match that ended up taking place that I really didn't want to see. But Jade Cargill versus B-Fab. And this is why I didn't want to see it, because I knew it was going to be pretty much a squash match. B-Fab, I think, should be the one that has that potential to be the most threat to Jade Cargill. She's almost the same size as Jade Cargill. She is. If they pushed her and they polished her enough, I think that could be one hell of a match. But I knew it wasn't going to be that, and it turned out to just be boring to me. And this is the point that I'm like, okay, I would rather start shaking my bottle and drinking the stuff to give me the shits so I ain't have to watch this. Be honest.
You and I are disagreeing a lot tonight, man.
Well, you know.
We're going to argue again, I guess.
Man, you don't think B-Fab has the potential? You don't think she's that diamond in the rough that she could become that monster that's the one to be the biggest threat to Jade Cargill? Because look at both of them standing face to face in the ring.
No,
man.
I don't. Because in my opinion, they kind of ruined B-Fab with the whole when she was with the Hit Row guys.
Hit Row.
Dollar and all those guys.
I'm not arguing with that.
Ruined her. Then they put her with the Street Profits where she wasn't doing anything.
Right.
Now they're like, okay, we got to do something with her. All right, let's put her in the ring. I'm not saying she's not talented, but I think they've squandered it to where you don't care about her right now.
I actually agree with you. This is why I said potential. I didn't say right now. I said potential.
Right. They would have to do some serious creative.
By squashing her in this match, you basically threw away any potential of making her that diamond and building her up. Man, look what they did with Maxine Dupree. Are you kidding me? You couldn't get any worse than that. And now look where she's at because of what they've done with her. You could absolutely do that with B-Fab. Robbie Iyer, you don't agree with me?
You know what? When you started talking about that and we started talking, okay, you put her with Hit Row and you put her with the Street Profits and stuff. What they should have done, you could have used somebody else to have Jade squash tonight. I agree, you could have if you matched the way she matched up and everything, what you do is pull her from TV for a couple months. Make her go train in NXT or whatever. Work her out with your trainers and just, now all of a sudden she's off of TV for a couple months, 2-3 months, and you're just working her out, making her where she's getting better at what she does. And then all of a sudden you bring her back in a special time, moment and put her with Jade or whatever. And that's what they should have done. I totally agree. You have putting her with these people, this people, and now you're trying to figure out what do we do. And if you want to give her any kind of a push, you might have just pissed that all away with what you did tonight.
Exactly.
So what's the worst case if would have happened if you pulled her from TV for 3 months? Okay, right. People forget about her, but now if you bring her back and she comes out like a Maxine Dupree, all of a sudden way improved and stuff, everybody's going, holy shit, where'd she go? Where'd she come from now?
Yeah, everyone loves the underdog story. I don't care. In the history of wrestling, one thing that has not ever changed is that underdog story and someone coming back being the best that they can be, right? I'll let you respond to what Robbie said, Grizzle, before we go to the next segment.
I agree with Robbie, but the thing is, it's kind of like what Jim Cornette says on his podcast on a regular basis. And I will quote Jim Cornette a lot because I love Jim and his podcast. How can we forget you if you don't go away? If B-Fab goes away for 3 months, you kind of forget about her, you bring her back, you're like, oh shit, her. And then let her do something, and it makes it believable. But you got to give us that. You got to, as I've been saying all night tonight, you got to cleanse our palate a little bit of B-Fab. As far as Jade Cargill tonight, though, maybe they could have pulled one of their NXT girls, one of their, or an Evolve girl, or one of their girls that just did the Legends and Future Greats show or whatever. But Jade needs the squash match because I was not a Cargill fan. Because in AEW, everybody's like, oh my God, she's so great. No, in AEW, she was a big fish in a little pond, and they could make her look good. because the talent at that time in the women's division wasn't great because Jade could look good. They brought her to WWE, and you found out how rookie she was, how green she was. She still needed training, and they force-fed us Jade Cargill. I didn't like it. Now, heel Jade Cargill, I'm kind of a fan of, but she's got to be the heel by squashing the other girls, like what she did to Tiffany Stratton. Do it to BFAB. Okay, maybe you could have done it to, like I said, one of the NXT girls. But you got to have the squashes for it to build Jade Cargill up as that bitch heel character. And then, you're changing it. You're giving you somebody, and you're waiting for that one girl to come in there that can take her down finally.
Right. I agree with you 1,000,000%. I completely agree with you. I like her as a heel. I like that they're bringing back the I'm that bitch thing, right? I think she's really good at that. And I agree. They need to feed her either some local talent or NXT people, right? For her to squash, because I think she has the potential to be the female version one day of Brock Lesnar, right?
I don't know if I go that far.
Oh, I do. I'm not saying that she can be as athletic as Brock Lesnar. I'm saying as far as being built as that woman that is just freaking unstoppable, right?
I still don't know about that, because to me, Brock Lesnar is one of those like once in a blue moon type guys that he can go away for 3 years, and then when he comes back, he's relevant. If Jade Cargill went away for a couple years, then came back to do something, you might go, "What?"
Yeah,
even
right now. Well, yeah, right now
they built her up. I don't see Cargill as it. Brock, like I said, is one of those once in a blue moon type of guys. It is going to be hard to ever build anybody like a Brock Lesnar.
I think if Jade Cargill continually gets pushed and built up, and she is booked correctly, and with the size that she is, that she absolutely can get to that point one day that if she did go away, if she came back, you would know exactly who she is, because she has that presence and she has that look that leaves that impression. Right now, she's still, in my opinion, a little green. She hasn't been, she's not elevated to that point yet. Robbie, do you think that she could be the female version of Brock Lesnar if they book her right? Again, I'm not talking about as athletic he is. You're right, no, Grizzled, right? But I'm talking about as far as that dominance.
I'm not even talking athletic. I'm just talking the aura of Brock Lesnar.
Right. Yeah. See, I'm kind of split in the middle on it. I mean, she's a physical specimen. I think, and this is going to sound bad, I guess, probably. If you kind of wanted to say that Brock Lesnar type deal, to try to make her even look more of a physical specimen, like put some more size on her. I mean, even like 10 pounds with it. And then if you pushed her right, I could see it, because now she's, built wise, she's probably the best built woman in the whole out of NXT, their whole organization, WWE and stuff.
Women division.
I think you could throw another 10, 15 pounds on her. Yeah, then I could see that Brock Lesnar type deal like that. Or if you book her right, if you don't book her right, then no.
Right. I mean, look, give her some steroids for about 6 months. I'm just joking. I am not in no way whatsoever promoting. It was a joke, guys. Relax.
Hey, next, have her do a few powerlifting meets. Just train her like a power lifter.
Yeah, absolutely. Next, we go to LA Knight and Sami Zayn. LA Knight turns down Zayn's offer to join his War Games team. Does anyone give a shit?
No.
Exactly. Next is where I wanted to turn the TV off for the night. LA Knight's mystery opponent. Who will it be? Who will come in and we say, oh my God, it was none other than Zack Ryder? Now look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like Zack Ryder. I hate the woo. It reminds me of a bunch of douchebags. I'm being honest. Now, Matt Cardona's indie guy, love the guy. Zack Ryder, I instantly lost interest in this match. I didn't care. We all knew what was going to happen. LA Knight was going to win this. it was predictable at that point. Why WWE? Why? I hate when they do this type of stuff. Big surprise, and it's not Grizzle. Go ahead.
Once again, we're going to disagree. I love Zack Ryder. Why did they come out? Why was it Zack Ryder? Because WWE owns that name.
Right.
You know,
Well,
you can use Zack Ryder. They're not going to use Mike Corona. And when they did it, and I heard the woo woo woo, I was like, oh sweet. I like Zack Ryder because look what Matt Cardona did. Gone in WWE, they weren't doing anything with him. That man went out, did his own YouTube show with Long Island IZ, did all the internet, all the social media, created a character where WWE had to bring him back, push him to the moon as Zack Ryder. And then when they did cut him again, what did he do? He went to the indie scene and created the indie god as Matt Cardona. That man has created himself. So coming back as Zack Ryder, oh no, he got seen on worldwide television by millions of people for a night. Why? Because of what he does. And
well, look, I don't. I'm not taking.
It doesn't matter if it's 10 people; it's 1,000 people.
Right. I'm not taking away.
Come in. He's going to come. He's going to entertain. And that's what LA Knight was going to win.
Right.
But Zack Ryder was in there to entertain. The fans got a kick out of it. And you got to see Broski one more night. Are we going to see him on a regular basis? No,
absolutely not. Look, I'm not going to take away. I'm not going to take away from the fact that he is a very intelligent guy, that he knows how to get himself over. I'm not taking that away from him. But that character, look, back in the day, most of my career I worked in bars, and back in my younger years, I was bouncing in bars. That whole woo woo woo, those are the type of guys that I grab by their heads and used it to open the door because it just aggravated the shit out of me. Robbie, I know what you think about this tonight, man. This return.
Yeah, I gotta agree with KG on the woo woo woo. Just remind you of some kind of douchebag frat boy or whatever,
Well, that's kind of what Long Island IZ was. That was who Zack Ryder was. He was supposed to, the spiky hair and headbands and.
But I mean, it would have been, it would have been kind of cool if WWE would have said, Matt Cardona. That would have been kind of cool. I mean, I understand why it's the Zack Ryder because he's been there and back at whatever. Match wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad match. It just you knew LA Knight was going over. Like you said though, it was the woo 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 stuff. Like that. I guess that's a Zack Ryder thing. So I guess you had to do it.
Well, Robbie, this was my biggest problem. I'll go back to the Miz match against Uso. Right now, we knew that more than likely Uso was going to win, but Miz is a part of WWE, so there was still that chance that maybe, just maybe, we'll be surprised that Miz won. With LA Knight versus Zack Ryder, my big issue was this. This is a tournament, right? To see who John Cena's last opponent is going to be. When I'm watching two guys fight in this tournament, I don't want to know right away who's going to get over, right? I want to be sitting on the edge of my seat wondering, okay, I think that it's going to be this person more than likely, but maybe, just maybe, because this person is a big part of WWE, that they actually may surprise us and they may swerve us and they may win. There's none of that anticipation in a match like this because that Zack Ryder, this was just a one-off. Grizzled. I mean, you don't have this. Go ahead, Robbie.
Sorry about that. So I was off because remember when I put in the comment group, I said, watch, his surprise guest is going to be Joe Henry. And the reason being, okay, they're not going to tell you because if you say his name, he appears. But I was off. So
yeah, I think I've actually turned the TV. I am not a Joe Henry fan, and that's another conversation for another time.
God, I cannot do this show anymore. Sorry, guys. I'm out. God damn, I love Joe Henry. Once again, this man created himself. He used social media to build up this character where all you have to do is play that cheesy ass music. Everybody
and there it is.
Bitch, and then starts going and Tokyo, and we all do it.
And you just said it. You just said my biggest dislike in today's professional wrestling is the cheesy shit. I hate it. I hate cheese, man. Again, I come from the days of wrestlers that were a man's man. You know, they beat the shit out of one another. There was no whole
Here we
cheese.
go. Here we go. KG. Let's get Robbie's opinion on this. Robbie, you've been a wrestler. You were on. You did WCW, stuff like that. You're coming out on stage. Do you want the crowd to go and just be silent? Or would you rather come out to the ring to your cheesy music and have an entire arena full of people going and doing your thing because you came out to that and that's what they know to do? What are you going to want as a talent? You're going to want that crowd reaction, regardless of everybody else likes it. You want that crowd reaction,
yeah,
all right?
And here's right. And to his point, I mean, yes, it's it's cheesy and stuff, but it's over. It's over. So
WrestleMania, he had an entire stadium at WrestleMania doing that when he came out to face Randy Orton.
Yeah, it is over, but you know what? That tells you that's all you need to say about today's wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Period.
Well,
I'm asking for all of you wrestling fans to subscribe to the podcast, please.
Like I said, it's called Wrestling Evolves.
But you have to. Here's the thing: you have to cater to everybody, though. I mean, you have to cater to everybody.
I get it, but back in the day, they catered to everybody, and you just didn't have this ridiculousness that they have today.
And they did it differently. They did the same thing and got crowd reaction. They just did it differently and got a different reaction. Roddy Piper would come out and everybody would boo the hell out of him. They would want to, they'd try to stab him with knives as he was heading to the. And all those guys will tell those stories, but they would use like doing dirty shit against their opponents to get that reaction. That's how the reaction was the same.
Right
now, they don't have to like worry for their lives going to the ring. They just have to have a catchy song, and everybody goes, they don't have to like risk their lives.
But they did do
a reaction.
Yeah. Go ahead, Robbie.
You did have kind of the cheesy shit. You kind of had the cheesy shit because think of Adrian Street with what that gimmick was.
That wasn't cheesy, man. That was very, especially in those days, that was very provocative. And I mean, you have a guy that's skipping. You have a guy skipping circles in the ring around his opponent. Next, he beats the shit out of him.
But Adrian Street was just
but still
version of Gorgeous George.
Yeah,
think about it. Gorgeous George is doing that same style,
but it's still
differently.
Right.
Yeah. But still in an era though that where today's world that's probably more accepted. Back then when he did that wasn't really accepted by a lot of people.
No,
right. But there wasn't this level of cheese.
Gorgeous George did it.
Right. And I'm not disagreeing. There's just this level of cheese now with some of these characters. Look, again,
but
I will not take away from the fact that Joe Hendry is talented in the ring, right? Obviously he is. Obviously he knows today's crowd. He could get over. And I am not saying that wrestling should be booked around Kevin fucking Landry. I get that. There needs to be something for everybody. I understand that. But it won't change the fact that I hate those type of gimmicks. Just won't change it.
Well, here we go. I'll give you another example real quick. I'm gonna just spit these out at you real fast. As far as like gimmicks go with the crowds and everything getting attention, right? Okay, burn it down. Ooh, Seth Rollins. He gets an entire. They hate him, but he gets an entire arena to sing his song. CM Punk. He comes out. That's clever, and everybody screams that. Sami Zayn comes out tonight. Ooh. Everybody sings along. It's a different way to get it. And for the people who don't like it, like you, what does that do? Fuck, I hate CM Punk because all the fans are great. You don't like CM Punk. Okay, we need somebody who doesn't.
No, I like CM Punk actually.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
Those sing-alongs are an example of a way that you get people to hit. They're like, no, fuck, I'm not singing along with this bullshit. It's bullshit. Great. You're getting a reaction, though, and that's what they want.
Absolutely. Look, I am not arguing that whatsoever because I don't argue facts. And what you're saying is not opinion. What you're saying is absolute facts. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is that this guy, I don't like cheese with my wrestling.
And that's fine. And that's what the wrestling
I like better wrestling.
We can't all like it. We all like
But-
it to be
but-
very boring because
but-
everybody be cheering for everybody.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
You
I'm
don't like
considering
Zayn
this.
Zayn's
Zayn's music is right, but
Sure,
Sami
Robbie.
Zayn's music is cheesy. Sami Zayn's
Absolutely.
music is cheesy.
Absolutely.
You know,
100%.
I mean, you know,
Well, Sami
I mean,
Zayn-
look,
I can't say
unless it's bands
Robbie
like Seven
Rocker.
Dust and stuff like that, the music sucks, in my opinion. But but you're right. I mean, they're getting the dance reactions, but I don't like the cheese in it. I think maybe that's why if there was a gun pointed to my head and I had to say which wrestling promotion that I kind of lean towards more as being my favorite than the other, I would have to say your NWAs and your AEWs, just because it's a little bit more edgier, in my opinion. And I hate comparing any wrestling promotion because, in my opinion, they're all different. And I'm a wrestling fan. And when you strip down all the cheesiness and get down to the actual core of professional wrestling, it's the in-ring matches that I am in for, that I like. But it's all the shit in between that. Some of it I'm just not a fan of. Go ahead, Grizzle.
Okay, here we go. AEW. Okay, Orange Cassidy. As
Please
soon as
stand it.
Shane starts playing,
Please stand it.
same thing. And here's another one. You want to talk about AEW and it's not as cheesy. Hello. Something. What have I become? What have Judas in my Judas? Chris Jericho came up.
Yeah.
They didn't play his theme music and the entire audience pulled out their phones and sang along without music to give Chris Jericho music to run
Right,
to.
right. But at least that's a good song.
It is. But AEW.
yeah,
has the
Judas
same
was a
thing.
good song, but
Right.
yes, and the biggest cheesy one in AEW is CEO.
Well, yeah. Everybody chants CEO while she, does her
Right.
thing.
Right.
It's
Right.
everywhere. It's just evolving. This is the
Right.
same reaction that the fans gave back in your territory days that you love so much, but they're just getting that reaction a different way.
Well, and again, I agree, but it doesn't mean that I like the cheese.
This is
I
gonna be
always-
KG and the Grizz bitching
Right?
each other show. I
To
can
the
see it.
side, right? Let's get back to this final.
Again,
Let's get to the main
again, we'll
event.
go back to
Yeah, Robbie.
once again, I think KG's been hanging out with Bob too long. Bob's rubbing off on him because he probably didn't have a problem with those songs back, and then Bob started bitching and complaining about him, and it rubbed off on KG.
No, I am definitely a heavy metal type of a guy, and it's not even the music.
How old
it's
are you,
just the
KG? How old are you?
cheese. 53.
53. Okay, you're the same age as me then. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
tell me, back in the freaking 80s, when you heard in the WWF, if you heard like doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo,
I did
and
watch
Barbara-
WWF.
the song didn't get in your head.
Yeah,
It
I
was the
did watch.
same thing. As kids, we watched that same cheesy shit.
Right. No, I didn't watch WWF back then. I didn't get into WWF into the Attitude Era because they changed.
Wow.
Yeah, because they changed the cartoon into more of a reality based wrestling, and that's what I grew up watching, was more of that reality based wrestling.
I grew up, well, I wouldn't call it reality based, but I grew up watching all of it. I watched the NWA, I watched the WWF, I watched the AWA, I watched whatever I could get my hands on tapes in the 90s. But I'm
Right.
just saying, you're
Right.
the same
Well, I
age
mean,
as
I didn't
me,
have-
and there was cheesy shit back when we were kids,
Right.
and we were into it because we were kids.
Well, right. Look, this is the thing with WWF. I didn't have cable again until I was about 13, and by then I was
Same here,
already
bro, yeah.
I was already conditioned to the type of wrestling that I like. Now, look, for the territory that WWF was in, and those fans, I'm sure they loved it. And they may have hated it. They may have thought that Mid-South at NWA may have been boring. I don't know. It worked for them, obviously, but I was already conditioned to the style of wrestling that I like because of watching it since I was 4 years old, and then 13 years old comes, I get introduced to WWF. I'm like, what is this clown shit? I don't like cartoon-based wrestling at
He
all.
doesn't like cartoon-based wrestling, but yet in his territories that he loves so much, you had, a guy who used to come out dancing to the boy from New York City that called him the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant. Telling me that
Dude,
wasn't a
that was
character.
not. No, that
was in the territory.
was a backwoods mountain crazy man. That wasn't cartoon. He didn't have these superpowers like
A
the
boy
guys
from
did
New
on
York City.
WWF. I mean, but again, let's
Everybody
get
had
back.
their characters. Okay, on to the next. All right.
Let's get back to the main event. So
Robbie just having a laugh.
LA Knight won. Backstage, Cody Rhodes prepares for his WWE Championship match against Bronson Reed. We get to the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Bronson Reed, and this was predictable. We knew damn well that Cody definitely wasn't going to drop his title and take a pin, but we knew that Bronson Reed wasn't going to take the pin either. They had to protect both those guys, which meant that we was going to have interference, and that's exactly what we had as Cody Rhodes was preparing to possibly put Bronson Reed through the announcer's table. Here we had Steiner,
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker coming in and taking Cody Rhodes out. Then we had, of course, the Uso brothers. By the way, one thing we did skip was Big Jim Uso made the announcement during that segment when Cody Rhodes was preparing for his WWE Championship match against Bronson Reed that he was going to have his back and he was joining them for War Games. Robbie, were you surprised by the ending of this match? And what did you think about the match as a whole? The match was fine. I just knew that what the ending was going to be.
Yeah, you knew you once again predictable. You knew there's going to be interference and stuff. I guess the surprise of it was bringing Drew McIntyre coming in. So I guess if you go back and paid attention, and I guess you paid attention, and I guess it went over my head when Paul was saying anybody. So now that set up Drew McIntyre to be part of their team at War Games. So like I said, when it just went over my head, it didn't make sense or you kind of ignored it, like I did. It just, but when you saw McIntyre out there, you're like, okay, now I understand why he said that, now you remembered it. So that was kind of a surprise, bringing Drew in there. I'll give it a good surprise. It wasn't like your Zack Ryder coming in. So that was a better surprise than Zack Ryder, saying Drew, because you kind of didn't put him in with that team, I mean, I guess if you think about it, you go, hey, he's feuding with Cody. That makes sense, but it was a surprise. The match wasn't bad, back and forth, but it was predictable. You knew there were going to be interference and, stuff to set up War Games.
Yeah. See, in McIntyre, I didn't know tonight would be the night that they would put him in, but I knew here pretty soon that McIntyre was going to be thrown in there because of the fact that him and Cody Rhodes, War Games, it just, I knew that's the direction that they were going. Grizzled Vet, this is a question. Now that we have the teams, at least the male teams for War Games, does this excite you for this match at War Games?
We don't have the teams yet, though. There's only 4.
Oh, you're right.
You need one more.
If you pay attention on the internet, because you know me, I follow social media. It's what I do every morning, every night. I follow what's going on. There's a graphic going around that someone's put together, and it is following piece by piece exactly the War Games match. It's Cody, CM Punk, the Usos, John Cena, his final Survivor Series. He's never been in a War Games. Right. On the other side, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Drew McIntyre, and the chance for John Cena to finally get back what he lost at WrestlePalooza. Another Paul Heyman guy, Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
That graphic is WWE TV is following exactly this graphic that's come out. I don't know who created it, whether it's a league or what, but those are the teams. So we're going to see Cena get involved. We're going to see Brock Lesnar getting involved. That
would excite me more. I'll be honest. If those guys get involved, that would make me more excited.
It'll be Cena's only War Games first in his career, so it makes sense for his final. And it's going to give him a chance, and I guarantee it, he will somehow get a pin or something happen. He'll beat Brock Lesnar to give him back what he lost at WrestlePalooza and going into his final match. That's what it's all going to kind of boil down to, in my opinion. They just got a couple more weeks to add Cena and Brock Lesnar into the mix.
Yep.
And as far as this match goes, though, by the time they had intros and the bell, you had 7 minutes left of the show. I'm like, well, this is going to be, where's Braun? There he is. Okay. So it was obvious. not going to be much of a match. I only had 7 minutes by the time the bell rang.
Yep. You know, you're not going to like this, but altogether, for the show as a whole, I'll give it a C+.
I'll agree with you on that one.
Oh, Idol?
No, I liked the stuff, but nothing was like, holy crap. It was all just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
It was
I'd say that. I mean, I guess maybe because just kind of cruising through it and stuff. So seeing Drew at the end, not thinking, but makes sense, yes, him and Cody. So you're putting him in War Games, but having him come out there was kind of a little bit of a surprise. So, but I agree, C+.
Yep. Guys, Friday night is going to be our new night after Smackdown to
even when it goes 3 hours.
No. God, I'm not even. Oh man!
But are we going to be doing this at 10:30 at night?
Yeah, 3 hours. I don't know if I'll make it.
Well, then
I don't know if I'll be still awake after that.
Robbie's getting old, man. Come on, he can't keep up past midtime.
I am.
Well, then I guess still up
in my defense.
Go ahead, Robbie.
In my defense, though, Mike, my wife gets up at 2:30 to be to work at 4 o'clock. So you know who else is up at 2:30 in our household.
Well, leave it to WWE. Leave it to WWE to fuck up something good because I much prefer doing this on Friday nights, but I get it. So we may have to go back to Saturdays to do the recap of Friday SmackDown. We will let you guys know. On Monday,
I'll come on and recap it with you at 10:30 on a Friday night. I don't mind. I'm a late night guy. I mean, you and I can battle it out on a Friday night basis.
Okay.
AG and the Grizz, let's fight.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that'll work for you as well. But on Monday at 6 p.m. Central, Eric Stevens from Veteran Pro Wrestling, he will be here. Grizzled Vet, tell everyone where they can hear your radio show, Wrestling Memories.
I like the way you say that. Wrestling Memories every Sunday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on Pioneer 90.1 FM KSRQ. You can stream it live, radionorthland.org, or you can find it on the TuneIn radio app. Just search for Pioneer 90.1 or download the Pioneer Community Radio app, and you can listen to it there. Robbie will be an upcoming guest on our show right about the holiday season, a little Thanksgiving dinner, and some Robbie Idol conversation.
And Robbie, tell everyone, guys, look, Robbie has a book out. I'm telling you, this book is such an easy read. I promise you can easily finish it in 3 hours.
Morning. Great book.
Yeah, it's 3 hours if you read it straight through. It's such a great book. A lot of great things in there. If you're old like Mike and I, then there is a lot of nostalgia in that book with some names in there. But Robbie, tell people where they can find this book at, man.
They can find it at 2 different places. You can find it at Amazon Kindle, or you can find it on Lulu, but you have to go to the Lulu bookstore, hit looking up at the lights, and you're going to see a box that'll come up. You'll see 3 books come up that I think are children's books. You look for the explicit content and you go click on it if you want it from Lulu. It's a lot easier if you go to Amazon Kindle and pull it there. So you can get it in 2 different places, though. You can get it those 2 places. And you saying that I'm old, Mike, and if you could gut it out, I'll gut it out too when SmackDown goes to 3 hours. So you're going to have to put up with me.
There you go, guys. There you go. It is now finalized. 30 minutes after SmackDown goes off the air, we will be doing the recap of SmackDown. Please join us. Hit that subscribe button. Also, very soon, be looking for us on ECUSA, guys. Check out this app. There's some great content on there. If you really do like professional wrestling, there's other podcasts on there. There is a lot of indie, I want to say territory, a lot of indie wrestling on there as well, possibly future stars. Go to your Roku or Fire Stick, whatever you have, and just like you'd be searching for an HBO app or your Netflix app, type in ECUSA, download it, guys. Let's support a lot of our local people, including local podcasters who spends look, I promise you, doing a podcast is not as easy as what you may think. I found this out when I started doing this podcast. I spent a lot of hours talking to people, putting things together. So let's support our local wrestling scene as well. But unless you guys have anything else, please join me on Monday again for Eric Stevens. Hit that subscribe button. And until then, you guys have a great weekend and get your bell rung, everybody. Have a good night.